Yes. Of course, now I'm going to come to one of the biggest and latest feathers in your cap, that is the G20 Summit. It was a huge task, one of the most important, and of course, a very prestigious um, project task for the country and the government. And of course, the confidence was by the entire government, had everyone had placed in you, and you did it, came up with flying colors. But can you tell me how difficult was it to interact with the countries, the different delegations, and how did you actually put your across and the government's point across and get the maximum benefit for our country?
So let me first say that G20 was very critical and important
Yes.
for India. And the Prime Minister had said that our G20 must be inclusive,
Mm-hmm.
it must be ambitious, it
Mhm.
must be very action oriented and decisive.
Mm-hmm.
So there are two components to G20. One was the way it was executed.
Mm-hmm.
It was very different from any other country
Mm-hmm.
where G20 is normally held in one or two cities.
Mm-hmm.
In India, the Prime Minister said that he wants to host it in every state and union territory of India.
Mhm.
So we've done close to about 60 different cities over 220 odd meetings,
Yes.
which is huge. Infrastructure was created. Many of these cities were cleaned up in terms of drainage, sewage, solid waste.
Because all the guests were
Yeah,
going there.
roads,
Yes.
etc. So this was also used as an opportunity to improve the infrastructure in these areas.
Mhm.
We also use this opportunity to spread local culture, art forms, to the local gifts. One district, one product.
Mhm.
So all the states were used to, and union territories were used to promote them in a
Right.
very big way, not merely in terms of the art, culture, but also improve infrastructure.
That's
one
right.
component.
Yeah.
The second component was to, this was a post-COVID era, this was the peak of the Russia-Ukraine war.
Yes.
And the challenge in a multilateral organization is to bring everybody together and bring consensus. In multilateral organizations without consensus, there's no
Mhm.
success. So to bring consensus on all key and critical issues confronting the world,
Mhm.
from balanced, sustainable, inclusive growth to the acceleration of sustainable development goals,
Right.
to women-led development, to technological transformation, reform of the multilateral reform institutions,
Right.
and the Green Development Pact, only India was able to bring consensus on all these key issues.
Mm-hmm.
And India was able to do this by bringing G7 countries, the emerging markets, Russia, China, all together. So I think it was a success of very huge proportions. This could happen because there was a leadership of the Prime Minister, his stature, his standing was critical. And we were able to bring everyone together thanks to that.
So, did you start working on this from the year before we officially were handed over the G20, the summit and
So
everything?
G20, you get about a year.
Oh,
to
yes,
work.
to work.
And I was made Sherpa at
Yes.
the beginning of that. So I had to work the whole year. It's like 5 years of work put into one.
One.
So
Yes.
5.5 years of work.
That's why my first question was about your energy and your fitness level. And then now anyone would have thought, why is the first question that? But I know it's what you're doing, you're executing it. One thing is making a policy, but you're doing policy plus execution. So that's why I know that it requires a lot of energy
So it was very tough. It was very exacting, but it also gives you a great sense of satisfaction.
yes. And I think you made India proud because the way you positioned yourself, the way you negotiated, and I feel we are in a position today that we don't need to compromise to any country. We can put our terms forward and get pretty much most of them, if not all.
Yeah.
And but you also needed someone. I would say more than but it could have been the Congress government or the BJP or anybody else. It was more the person who was the CEO, who was meeting the people daily, day in and day out, and convincing them of what we wanted. So that's why I feel that you played personally a very large role
I think
in
it was
this
the Prime Minister's leadership.
See, that's very nice of you to say that all. But the truth is, when you go every day and you have to have, even if in a business, any businessman or any industrialist who's hearing this interview will obviously see that he knows that how many levels and layers of meetings are required to reach and sign the final deal. So obviously you personally went, and that to a large extent was your personal success also and your contribution to this nation also. And that's why I think you've earned that respect from pretty much everybody across all.
So
Across
I
the
was really the Sherpa to the Prime Minister.
Yes.
Sherpa's job is, to put it very mildly, is to take the leader. It's a leadership summit.
Yes.
The leaders from all over the countries assemble together. They're all represented by their Sherpas. They do the spade work, and the job of the Indian Sherpa during the year when we are hosting the G20 is to take his leader on top of the summit. And that is on top of the Mount Everest.
Yes.
So I'm glad that I could work and take my leader on top of the Mount Everest. That's what gives me the satisfaction.